Salvete. In this video, we're going to be talking about expletives. Not the kind of expletives you probably were thinking of, but the expletives est and sunt. And we begin here on page 42 in our Henley book. The expletive there in English. So, for example, there are dangers in Gaul. Now, typically we begin the subject of a sentence, we begin a sentence with the subject. And so it might be tempting to look at this sentence here, there are dangers in Gaul, and think that there is the subject of the sentence, but it's not. The subject of the sentence is dangers. The expletive there, as our book says down below, it merely introduces the sentence. It merely introduces the subject. The real subjects are danger and king. There is a king in Gaul. There are dangers in Gaul. So dangers and king are the subjects of these two sentences, but there are, or there is shown with one word in Latin. And they're words you already know. You already know how to use est and sunt. We already know that est is, and we already know that sunt is are for when we're talking about more than one thing. And this topic really doesn't add that much. All we're going to learn in this video here is that est can mean more than just is. Est can also mean there is. And sunt can mean more than just are. Sunt can mean there are. And that's basically all of the new information coming to you in this video. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at a couple of exercises from our Henley book. Exercise 41 and 42, which use some expletives. They may also, some of the sentences in these exercises may not use expletives because it's important to not just learn when to use something, but when to not use something. And so let's take a look. We're going to start with exercise 41, which is Latin to English. So the original sentence, sunt pericula in Silvis Galliae. And so if without hearing this new fact here, that est can mean more than just is and sunt can mean more than just are, you might be tempted to look at this sentence and say, are dangers, periculum is danger, pericula is the plural, it's a second declension, neuter word, are dangers in the forests, and then there's a genitive of Gaul, are dangers in the forests of Gaul. And you might say, oh, that doesn't make any sense in English, okay? But now we know that this sunt can also mean there are dangers in the forests. What do we have here? We have the word silva. And then down here it would be silva. We know in the forest is in silva, but if we're talking about in the forests, then we want to use the ablative plural in silvis Galliae of Gaul. There are dangers in the forests of Gaul. All right, we're going to do down to 4 from exercise 41, and then we're going to hop to 42. All right, non est pax. Non est pax in Gallia. Oh, quod, not the end of the sentence, quod Caesar cum militibus in Gallia est. All right, and so each time we have a sentence, we're going to kind of begin with subject and verb, identifying the subject and the verb, making sure that we have the right subject, not just anything that looks like it might be in the nominative, because there could be several things that might look like they're in the nominative, right? We also want to make sure that if we're identifying a plural subject, that the verb has a plural ending as well. We want to make sure they match. That's another good check to make sure that we have the correct subject, right? So, non est pax in Gallia. Well, our verb here is just est, because I don't see an actual action-y type verb, but est is our verb. Okay, and so this is probably our expletive. So non est would mean there isn't. There is not peace. All right, so here's our expletive right here, our expletive introducing our subject, which is pax, because pax is in the nominative, and it means peace. So there is not peace in Gallia. There's an ablative, singular. There is not peace in Gaul because, and then we have a second part of the sentence, which means we're going to have a brand new subject and brand new verb, because Caesar cum militibus in Gallia est. All right, Caesar looks like it's in the nominative, so it could be our subject. Our verb, est is our verb again. Now this est is not an expletive. We actually have a subject that doesn't need an introduction, whether there is or there are, because Caesar is something. Caesar is something. What is Caesar? Cum militibus, okay, that's with the soldiers, is with the soldiers in Gaul. So there's not peace in Gaul because Caesar, with the soldiers in Gaul, is. So interesting sentence here because we have two ests, only one of them is an expletive. Right? Number 3, sunt vie in provincia. Nice short one. All right. Does it look like we have a nominative? That's an ablative. This is the only other noun. That must be a nominative plural, va. So there are roads in the province. And our last one for exercise 41, populus ducem militum propter virtutem laudat. Populus ducem militum propter virtutem laudat. So I don't see the word est or sunt in this sentence at all, so there's no expletive. But nonetheless, it's part of this exercise. We're going to translate it. Okay, here's our verb. And populus looks like it's in the nominative. It may be our subject. It's a singular. Is that a singular? Yep. It doesn't say laudant. It says laudat. So pretty sure we have our subject and verb. So the people. I know that sounds plural when I say it in English, people, but it's but it means the populace, right? People praise. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. So who are the people praising? In order to find who the people are praising, we need to look for something in the accusative. The accusative means the receiver of the verb. Okay, that looks like in the accusative. They both might look like they're in the accusative, but we have to kind of keep in mind what declensions each of these words belong to. And then propter, virtutum, all three look like they're in the accusative. Virtutum looks like it's in the accusative because the word propter takes the accusative. So this is probably not receiving the praise. The virtue isn't receiving the praise here. One of these is receiving the praise. Now, dux ducis is a third declension word, and then milites, miles militis is a third declension word. So these are third declension words, and sometimes it's helpful to either recreate or to refer to a chart that you've been given or that you have. So it goes various is EMA, various is EMA, and then the plural side goes ace, ibis, ace, ibis. Okay, so it's very handy to have these charts when you're looking at sentences because all three of these could look like they're the accusative. We kind of figured out that this one is not the direct object of this verb because of propter, but these two kind of both maybe look accusative because they have M's, but look what's going on here. We have M and we have So this is not an accusative. This is a genitive plural. So this must be our direct object. So the people are praising the leader. The people praise the leader. Now a genitive plural means of the somethings, right? So the people praise the leader of the soldiers. And now this propter virtutem is telling us why. On account of virtue, or what else can virtue mean? On account of courage. If we're talking about Romans praising a leader, it's probably on account of courage. If we're talking about Mary praising somebody on account of virtutem, then maybe it's more virtue. So kind of use your context there. And then we're going to do a couple from exercise 42 as well, which is English to Latin. Exercise 42. And we're going to do, there are soldiers in the forest. All right. So soldiers is our subject, which should be in the nominative plural. And there are soldiers. Well, there are is going to be sunt, and then soldiers. Soldier is miles militis. And so from miles militis, from the militis, we're going to get our stem, milit, but we're not going to put militis. We need a nominative plural. So how does the nominative plural go? Ace, ibis, ace, ibis. So we're going to do milites, sunt milites. There are soldiers in the forest. No, let me just check. It's the forest singular instead of forests plural. It is. It says forest singular. So I have it right here. Sunt milites in, and then remember stem, silv, and it's a first declension word. So we're going to go silva. Sunt milites in silva. There are soldiers in the forest. And, that was exercise 42, but that was number 3. And we're going to do one more. Let's do number 6. Okay, this is a little bit of a long one. So on account, I'm going to abbreviate that, of courage, of the soldiers, comma. There is no peace, or there is peace in the province. There is peace in the province. Okay. So there is going to be our expletive introducing peace. And so peace is going to be our subject, which is going to be in the nominative. But we're going to begin our sentence with on account of courage. So propter is on account of, and we said in the last, not the last one, in one of the previous sentences that propter takes the accusative. So on account of courage, so remember courage was virtutis. So we're going to use virtut. We're going to get our stem, virtut, and we need it in the accusative. So on propter virtutem. Remember, we don't want to use like we did in the second declension, because if we use that's actually a genitive plural ending. So we really want to be keeping those straight. So propter virtutem, on account of the courage of the soldiers. So milit is our stem. And, well, what I just said, the was a genitive plural. Well, now we need a genitive plural. We need of the soldiers. So now we're going to say militum, propter virtutem militum, on account of the courage of the soldiers. There is peace in the province. So now we're going to use our expletive. There is est pax, peace. And then we need in the province. So in provinci, and it needs to be in the ablative, in provincia. All right. The rest should be fairly simple and straightforward for you to do now after this video. All right, valete.